The Governor General is now vaccinated. Some 500 people can be vaccinated a day. And hear what an opposition senator has to say on the government's rollout of the vaccine. Good evening, everyone. I'm Lissy Bastian. It's Thursday, March 18th. Thanks for staying with us. Distribution of the COVID-19 vaccine continues to be rolled out here in the Bahamas, and Governor General Sir Cornelius A. Smith joining the few who have received their first dose of the Oxford AstraZeneca vaccine. At the Loyola Hall, one of the vaccine centers for New Providence, Sir Cornelius was inoculated at around 8:45 this morning. The vaccine was administered to him by Ruth Bastian, who was the first in the country to receive the jab this past Sunday. Well, after receiving the dose, Sir Cornelius expressed that he felt great and would encourage others to also be vaccinated. His wife, Lady Clara, also received her first dose of the vaccine. On Sunday, the COVID-19 vaccine pilot process took place with healthcare professionals, Prime Minister Dr. Hubert Minnis, his wife Patricia, and Health Minister Renwick Wells receiving their first dose. Around 110 people were vaccinated at Loyola Hall the same day. Yesterday, Princess Margaret Hospital began its administering of the vaccine, with a total of 70 people being vaccinated. 20,000 doses of the AstraZeneca vaccine was donated by the government of India a little over a week ago. More than 30,000 doses are expected to arrive in country before the end of this month through the World Health Organization, Pan American Health Organization's COVAX facility. Deputy Chair of the National COVID-19 Vaccine Consultative Committee, Ed Fields, says that the main issue of vaccine distribution in the Bahamas is supply and demand. He says as much at one of the vaccine distribution sites in Nassau Loyola Hall. According to Mr. Fields, the Loyola Hall site has the capacity to vaccinate some 500 people per day.
As you know, the problem is, and I want to emphasize this because a lot of people are sort of seemingly unaware of the issue. The issue is one of supply and demand. Okay, right now we have 20,000 doses. That's the supply. The demand is much greater, and so we're focused right now on healthcare workers, on some nursing homes, etc. And as we see the uptake, we will then strategize where we go next. Okay, so we have to be very cautious in terms of how we distribute based on our supply, because we also want to ensure that based on given the uncertainty of supply, that we have enough for the second dose for the people who would have taken it as well.
When reporters arrived to Loyola Hall to cover the vaccination of the Governor General, the facility experienced a power outage. Asked if this was something the committee had taken into account, Mr. Fields says that all of the vaccine distribution facilities have generators and there was only a minor issue at the time, which was quickly resolved. He adds that they can operate for a total of 30 minutes without power, but generators remain as the contingency plan. When it comes to the strategy of distributing vaccines, Mr. Fields made this comment.
We are in a situation where every day is another strategy, okay, depending on supply. I want you to keep that in mind, that depending on supply, the strategy literally changes every day. So the priority groups that might have been enunciated a month ago, if you recall, we were supposed to get Carho was said we would get 100,000 vaccines by the end of February. Well, that didn't happen. So we had to change the distribution strategy. We have 20,000 vaccines, okay? So we kind of halved the distribution strategy because we only had 20,000. We'll have to look to see if the supply that we were promised at the end of March is coming in, and we may have to change the strategy again based on that. So it is, what we can promise to do, I suppose, is to make sure we keep you updated, and we do.
Mr. Fields contends that the constant readjustments being made by the committee are to make sure the vaccines are distributed efficiently. Well, opposition health spokesman Senator Dr. Michael Darville expressing concerns over the government's COVID-19 vaccine rollout. In the upper chamber on Wednesday, Dr. Darville remarked that the government has a responsibility to consult with healthcare workers in both private and public sectors. He says as much off the heels of the heads of 3 major healthcare unions telling reporters they have been left in the dark concerning the rollout.
To be honest with you, Madam President, I read something in the newspaper that disturbed me. And it looked really bad when the medical community goes into the public domain and speaks specifically on not being consulted adequately. I believe we need to fix this because this is completely unnecessary. Someone dropped the ball because it's impossible to have an effective vaccine rollout if you don't have the medical fraternity operating with you.
Secondly, he says Bahamians who have concerns about COVID-19 vaccines, more specifically the AstraZeneca vaccine, should be directed to a reliable government source and be advised to consult a trusted healthcare professional to make the decision that is in their best interest.
Thirdly, Madam President, the government should focus more on public health education. Yes, there's some being done, but I believe we need to ramp it up. We must be able to provide those who are responsible with the research data on AstraZeneca vaccine that would address what we're seeing in the media about what is happening in countries like Europe. Instead, we must move away from these shallow PR efforts designed to promote a political agenda rather than public health.
He says it was also important to point out that the government, which was 17th in the Caribbean region to receive the COVID-19 vaccine, worked hard to catch up with regional counterparts. Additionally, Dr. Darville insists that the government give an update for the arrival of the COVAX vaccine shipment.
I know we keep hearing the vaccine from WHO is coming this month, the end of the month. We need to try to get some definitive dates so that we can plan better and the Bahamian people can be a part of this preparation. Finally, the government needs to look beyond vaccines. Yes, vaccines are important, but we need to look beyond it and lockdowns and take steps to keep our people safe.
The senator says it's the opposition's view that every effort be made to avoid further lockdowns, adding that the opposition will continue to press the government to bring to Parliament long overdue legislations that would move the country away from emergency orders and ultimately dismantle the competent authority. You're watching JCN News. When we return, Pan American Health Organization addressing concerns over the AstraZeneca vaccine and senators into day 2 of debate on the mid-year budget. Stay with us.